And happy Friday, right? So we're going to be doing an update on Andreen McDonald. And if you're not familiar with the story, I have a video that I uploaded earlier. You can stop right here and go to that video and then come back. Now for a quick catch up, Andreen McDonald, she's a business owner. She owns 2 of the assisted living buildings called Starlight Homes. She was just 22 years old, guys, impressive, when she started this business. She married a man by the name of Andreen McDonald, and he is a major in the U.S. Air Force. And he works on the, cyber warfare and things like that, which you have to be somehow intelligent. I don't understand, as most of you probably understand what I'm saying by what I mean by that, is he didn't seem very intelligent. Now, what you guys do need to know is that his wife, Andreen, is very competitive. She does not like to lose. And what we're finding out right now is their personalities clashed. And there's a few people that have stepped forward to tell us about those personalities and that they had arguments throughout their marriage. However, like the Chris Watts case, with Chris and Shanann, this couple also looked like they were a perfect couple. In fact, I watched a few of their, Facebook videos. They actually put a smile on my face. They were adorable. But behind closed doors and when the camera's off, it's a different story. Now, there is some evidence, which I mentioned in stories before. I told you he had a background, but I wasn't going to share it until I see media start sharing it. And actually, there's more background than what they're telling you. And I might share that the next video. I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot more that other people know, witnesses and stuff, because with him being in the military, you are not allowed to, have any kind of sort of bad background, because you will not keep your job. They do not tolerate domestic violence or any kind of violence or criminal activities at all. Now, what we're hearing now is Wing Floors, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who manages one of the 3 homes that are part of Andreen's assisted living business, told San Antonio Express News Wednesday that McDonald's relationship, it was on the rocks. But as you know, Andreen, 29, was reported missing March 1st. This is in the San Antonio, Texas area, so expects our county. And her husband was not cooperating at all. When they were trying to, find out some information, they asked him questions. He just didn't want to cooperate. One thing I do want to mention is the fact that, there's a possibility that his daughter seen him possibly strangle, that is the speculation right now, his wife to death. And the reason why people are speculating it was strangulation, which I'm not sure about myself, because there was blood present, is the fact that, she mimicked her mom, having trouble breathing. So one of Andreen's friends actually recorded the witness testimony from the daughter and turned it into investigators. Now let's get back to talking about the allegations and fact that these 2, Andreen and Andreen McDonald, clashed on a regular basis. And we're going to go over what Miss Flores here believes, she has seen during her time with the McDonald's. Okay, so she manages one of the 3 homes of the assisted living buildings. She actually said that she thought that the relationship between the 2 was not a good relationship, that Andreen was not happy with the relationship with the husband anymore. Now, one of those buildings was a split between a business and a home, where the McDonald's took homestead in the upper part of this building and the business took place at the bottom. Miss Flores claims that she heard Andre arguing with Andreen and glass breaking in the house that was partly used for business in Eden. So I guess that's on the northeast side. Now, the building that was in Eden, the police were called at least twice for the family violence in 2017, it looks like. So that's what the records are showing. The McDonald's finances were doing a little bit better, so they actually moved from that building into a bigger home along with their daughter and Andreen's mother. That was in July 2017 in the Timberwood Park area on the far north side, which is the house that they were living in when police found and friends found the traces of blood in the burn pits. Now, the employee, Flores, says that the pair had different personalities. Andreen being a driven businesswoman, she was bubbly, friendly, and treated her staff as friends and family. Andre, on the other hand, appeared, he didn't want to be involved with them in a family matter. He treated people around him as work or business, and he seemed very distant, treating the staff as nothing more than employees, which is totally different what we just explained about Andreen. Now, Flores says that Andreen is a strong woman, and Andre knows that Andreen is not the type of housewife that he can control. And then, as I mentioned in other videos, they had actually, Andre had filed for divorce in 2017, and then he backed out of it. Now, in the divorce, filing, Andre was actually fighting over some of the property, which included the Eden neighborhood. He also sought to restore his name on the records of Starlight Homes Assisted Living. And as well on that paperwork, it in quote, it says petitioner should be added to all relevant bank accounts with business, end quote. It states this in the divorce petition. Then in May 2017, he withdrew, the petition, and then the McDonald's. Now, Flores mentioned that after, he withdrew the petition, which was May 2017, the McDonald's bought a larger home on Solitude Cove in a gated subdivision, the Summit at the Canyon Springs, in July of that very same year, according to, Flores. She recalls, that little bit of information that she does remember. Okay, guys, bear with me because I'm trying to record in between so many things I got going on around me. It's almost impossible. She states that, periodically the McDonald's, were having arguments, but they appeared happy, and at Andre's 40th birthday party, that her husband, helped organize, that party, and everything seemed to be going well, and they had all their members of his family and friends around. Nothing seemed, to show any signs of any problems, except for one fact, and that is that Andre and Andreen, even though they were smiling for pictures and stuff for the party, they really wasn't talking to each other much. Now, the last time that Flores had actually talked to Andreen was February 28th when she called in to tell her that she was sick. So I guess Miss Smith, which is Andreen's mother, went in to Eden. I want to share the fact that in this case, we really don't know anything more than what we learned at the very beginning. However, we're getting a few statements from, friends and families of telling us what, giving us a picture of what this couple was like. And I try to avoid including the daughter as much as I can. But I do want to mention that she must be going through hell right now. She probably has no idea what's really happening, and that's the sad part about this story, is the child that's involved. But, you know, she had to see all this fighting. I'm sure she's seen it her entire life, because if outsiders seen it that were not inside the house, their daughter most definitely experienced, you know, the arguments and fighting. And, you know, she probably did so her entire life, according to what we're hearing at the moment, that this is something that has been going on for a long while. Now, I have another video I'm working on, which is going to cover, you know, the evidence and details, and maybe go over some speculations and even some of the comments that I've read lately in the videos, address some of your comments as to what has been going on, what you think is happening, and what you may know that I don't. So that's going to take me a little bit, because after the Chris Watts audio come out, I spent a lot of time trying to load that up. And when I got to the part where they said, you know, the parents, they told Chris Watts that, you know, the parents wanted this private, and I quit.
Well, the last happiness me have for the morning, cause me actually truth. And I will kill me out there. Yo, Andreen, I will kill me out there. I run left to come
you know, uploads.
Well, the last
Not only that, we
happiness me
have a
have
lot
for the
going
morning,
on
cause me
with the
actually
Kelsey
truth.
Barrett right now, and I have
I will
like a
kill
huge
me out
stack of papers.
there. Yo,
I
Andreen, I
could
will
be
kill me
recording
out
now,
there.
but
I
I'm
run left
only
to
one
come
person doing this. I have no editors, I have no helpers, so I'm doing the best I can. I can't get very much out at one time. There's so much going on right now. And, you know, we still have Cynthia Carver, we have Savannah Spurlock, and there's a lot to cover, and there's even more news out there that I can't even look at right now. So I picked the most important ones. You know, I'm trying to help get the word out, who to look for, you know, that I feel is really important. And some stories are just hard to find sometimes. But anyways, I want to roll this clip. I always like to, you know, give spotlight to volunteers who help within their community, because that is the most important people, and they never get the credit they deserve.
Salazar says is presumed to be dead.
It was humbling to see all of the fellow human beings that know that her life is important.
David Hook works with drones for a living as the president of Droneport, Texas. But today he was called out as a volunteer to help Bexar County deputies with their drone.
While the pilot is busy making sure that the drone is flying the way it's supposed to, there's another set of eyes making sure that there's, you know, no helicopter that's going to cross its path, or no bird that it could run into and harm.
The area they searched today near Blanco Road along Camp Bullis had a lot of high brush.
This is what it looks like from the pilot screen as they're flying overhead, and you can see that you can pick up shadows. Depending upon the contrast that you set into the camera, it can pull out certain colors. So this is why it's important in a search and rescue or search and recovery, if you know what the people were wearing.
There are also specific things they look for in a recovery mission.
The carrion birds, if they find a body, you'll see them circling.
A difficult search physically and emotionally for a community hoping to bring Andreen's family answers they desperately need. For the 9, Courtney Friedman.
The Bexar County Sheriff's Office is planning another search for Thursday. They will announce the time and location of that search tomorrow. So they ask you to follow the BCSO social media pages as well as ours here at KSAT for those updates.
Thank you, volunteers. We appreciate it. There is a lot of community starting to come together, and there are apps out there that actually help you to keep in touch with your neighbors in case something ever happens in your area and you need help. Check that out. And if you are involved in domestic violence or anything like that, make sure you tell somebody, seek help. Don't stay in that situation. I'm going to end this video here for now. I want to say thank you very much for watching, and also please subscribe and like A lot of hard work goes into these and a lot of heart. So I will talk to you soon. And like I said, another video coming up that will actually go over the details of the evidence and what happened.